Sinking buildings, exploding bridges, and sword fights on motorcycles, all on today's amazing effects, but can you guess how the effect was done before we tell you?
Show you a clip. You have to try to figure out how they pulled off the effect in that clip at the time that they made it.
Okay, will you make fun of me if I get it wrong though?
Yes.
Okay, sick.
And then what do I do, Ryan?
Kiss,
I kiss, kiss, kiss. Press play. Yes. Yes, daddy.
Wow.
That is erotic. That's erotic cinema.
Beautifully effective miniatures. A little mini ocean, a mini lake, and then they just blew that Hot Wheel to Kingdom Come.
It's James Cameron. Did he just build a bridge to blow up? It's possible. That is something he would do. But it also feels wildly irresponsible. I feel like my guess is always it's miniatures. But I feel like that's what that is. It's what's in my heart. James Cameron could have just blown up a bridge. But my actual guess is that it's a miniature.
James Cameron is no stranger to practical effects, and this bridge explosion is exactly that. This sequence was shot on the famous 7 Mile Bridge in the Florida Keys, and if you notice, there are 2 bridges side by side, and one of them is decommissioned with a giant gap in the middle of it. So like the genius Cameron is, he used that missing section as the post-explosion part of the bridge. All they had to do was dress it up with fake debris and smoke, and then they had their destroyed bridge. But for the actual bridge explosion, they couldn't demolish the real structure, so the team at Stetson Visual Services constructed a massive, highly detailed miniature replica of the 7 Mile Bridge. The not so miniature stood roughly around 5 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and 330 feet long. Along with the bridge, they also made a 1/5 scale truck that was set to trigger the pyrotechnics as it passed, since it had to blow up at an exact point on the bridge. So with only 2 chances to get the shot and multiple cameras in position, the truck set off the strategically placed explosives and created an incredibly convincing cinematic explosion.
Some of these action movies in the 80s and 90s just went hard in the paint.
Oh, sure. Sure, why not? That feels like a real stunt, and if that's real, holy shit.
Like, what do you mean we're gonna do miniatures? What do you mean? Have you not met Jerry, the helicopter pilot?
Awesome. Yes. Yes.
So I'll say the highway sequence, they actually got Black Hawk Down close to the road with some real stunt performers who had a death wish.
I forgot I was... What the hell? That looks like she just did that. What is going on? Definitely real. That's a real stunt. He's actually just doing that. This could sound stupid, but I think that kind of just looks like they just did all that.
And they did just do that, with Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis performing some of their own stunts here as well. Like this shot where Jamie Lee Curtis is hanging out of the top of the car, and here where she's suspended from a helicopter with nothing but wires and Arnold Schwarzenegger's arm. Which, I mean, I would trust more than the wires. The more intense stunts were performed by stunt doubles, like this shot right here, with everything you're looking at captured in camera, including the car crashing to the water below. How they were able to pull this off is almost as insane as the shot itself. First, they built a remote-controlled limo that could reach 75 miles per hour that was followed by an insert car that remotely controlled the limo. Then, in order to do this stunt safely, the stunt performer, Donna Keegan, had to be cabled onto the helicopter. The issue was she had to be inside the limo. So at 75 miles per hour, while she was hanging from the helicopter, they had to match the speed of the limo so she could climb inside of the sunroof to get in position in time before the limo went off the bridge.
And I'm shooting on an A-Star helicopter, and we're pacing the limo. I can't see the freaking cones. And I'm like, you know, Donna, just get in. You know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm willing her to get in the car. And she's sliding all over the top of this thing. And finally, at the last second, Donna slides in, she gets in position, and the thing goes off the end of the bridge.
Shots like this really are what movie magic is to me. So much work, effort, and fearlessness, all to create a truly iconic and timeless moment.
Legitimately one of my favorite movies.
It's been a while since I've seen this as well.
God, movies are so cool.
Man, parts of it look like they shot miniature, and then parts of it looks like they did a controlled demo into the water.
They're just doing that.
Some of the inserts feel like miniatures, maybe some pieces, but the overall sinking of this building just looks like they did it for real.
I think they built a model that they could actually destroy and then went and shot location and then composited that in.
Jumping all the way to 2006, with more modern effects coming in this episode, we have this sinking building sequence in Casino Royale, which required both external and internal perspectives and were achieved using a combination of scale models and precise motion control. For the exterior shots, a 1/3 scale replica of the Venetian building was built in a large water tank in front of a blue screen, where its sinking and tilting were carefully controlled to achieve accurate movements and camera alignment that matched footage they got on the actual location. They also made sure to match the orientation of the miniature to the position of the sun to match the Venetian shots as much as possible. And while shooting on location in Venice, they used 6 massive compressors with 18 hoses placed strategically in the water that produced those plumes of bubbles, which gave the physical interaction and helped blend the replica shots into the actual location shots. For the interior shots, a huge full-scale version of the structure was built on a soundstage, and it was wildly complex. It's essentially one giant rig in a water tank where the entire building itself can tilt in any direction and raise and lower to simulate the building sinking from the inside. It was also equipped with water effects, breakaway floors, and a controlled crashing elevator. Under the supervision of special effects supervisor Chris Kobold, the structures were engineered for highly precise controlled motion to support the complex stunts, allowing actors to perform within collapsing environments for an insanely convincing sequence. Next, we have flipping semi-trucks and motorcycle sword fights, but first, let's thank today's sponsor, Soundstripe. Soundstripe just released a first-of-its-kind patent-pending app for Mac called Soundstripe Live, and it's pretty awesome. It looks at the footage playing on my screen, and it could be playing inside of anything at all, my editor, YouTube video, whatever, and it's going to automatically suggest music it thinks would work for the visual tone it's seeing. It doesn't work all of the time, but I'm surprised at how often it works really well. Like, take this moment from one of our short films here. As I play it, you see it immediately adjusting to find what music it thinks would work. If I shift, it's shifting with me, and I get a whole new set of music that makes sense for this one. It suggests up to 10 tracks per scene from their catalog of 116,000 songs, which are all 100% human-made by real artists, which you could then drag and drop directly into your timeline already licensed through your Soundstripe subscription. You can then thumbs up or thumbs down the recommendations to steer it in the direction that you want, plus it has saved history so you can revisit any scene from your session. The app is free with your Soundstripe subscription, so no extra purchases necessary, so go to soundstripe.com/Soundstripe Live or click the link in the description to download the app and try it out for yourself.
Yeah, that's cinema.
The certainty to only do a stunt like that once and only cut to 2 angles is so ballsy.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan, yeah, they just did that. They just flipped that truck.
Yeah, Nolan just flipped it for real.
This is a Christopher Nolan film, so it'll be no shock for you to find out that the 18-wheeler flip was performed entirely as a practical stunt with no CGI used in its execution. To make it happen, a large remote-controlled piston was developed and placed beneath the truck to force it into a full 180-degree flip, with the only visual effect involved in this shot being the removal of that piston that launched the truck, although the smoke from it still remains visible in the final shot. Nolan insisted on using a full-size 18-wheeler despite initial suggestions to use a smaller vehicle, and early tests showed the piston could flip the truck cleanly and with minimal deviation. However, the location posed challenges due to underground bank vaults, leaving only 2 possible spots along the road where the stunt could be performed. When it came time for the shot, the stunt driver, Jim Wilkie, remained inside the cab, which was reinforced with steel bars to protect him during the flip, and multiple cameras were used to capture the moment, including 4 IMAX cameras, 2 VistaVision cameras, and 1 35mm camera. In the final film, 2 angles were used, one from a moving vehicle alongside the truck, and another from inside a police car driving toward it, capturing one of the most iconic vehicle crashes in cinema.
I love this movie.
Oh, yes. This is like that one older movie we did.
The one on the left is still Simon Pegg, and then the one on the right is the actual guy.
There's no glass in the mirror, and everybody on the opposing side is just mirroring the movements here, and then their stand-in and doubles mirroring the movements.
Yeah, this is a fake mirror situation. So that's just, it's all just doubles.
Similar to other in-camera effects that we've shown on the show before from films like Terminator 2 and Sucker Punch, this mirror disguise scene was achieved entirely in-camera without the use of an actual mirror, but rather doubles of the cast, set, and props. You have Simon Pegg here with Tom Cruise's double behind him, Rebecca Ferguson with her double on the other side in the mirror set, then you have the cast carefully matching the movements of their counterparts. The shot required multiple takes to align perfectly, but the thing that takes these types of shots to the next level is the attention to detail, like adding a double to the edge of the mirror frame itself, which really sells the effect here. And though it didn't end up in the shot, they even had 60 books with their spines reversed so it looked reflected. And it's the little things like that that take effects like this the extra mile.
Look at him go. Man's out of his mind.
What are the hoops that like the teams behind these movies have to go through to get insurance policies?
Dude, by the power of Xenu.
Yeah, it feels like they did some of it on a rig where they're whipping him around, because that would be really hard to do.
It's Tom Cruise, so he was definitely in water holding his breath, but probably inside of like a green screen tank.
I think most people know, especially in the film industry, that Tom Cruise does insane things like holding his breath for an unforeseen amount of time, but he's really in a tank swimming, holding his breath, looking for his key card to his hotel.
Sticking with Mission Impossible, to pull off this underwater stunt, Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson trained extensively in a breath hold program designed for military so soldiers could hold their breath for extended periods of time, training to reach over 6 minutes underwater to perform sequences lasting around 3 minutes. This allowed the scenes to be safely filmed with minimal cutting. These underwater scenes were filmed in a large tank set with drive-based structures and circular tracks. One track carried the camera on a motorized dolly, while another supported the actor with a harness system for controlled movement, and additional rigs assisted with motion during the more complex moments. A specialized camera system was also used underwater for extended periods, and in post-production, different takes were combined by blending transitions between shots with some digital camera adjustments and environmental enhancements being added, while maintaining the actor's performance throughout. Shooting underwater sequences are inherently dangerous and complicated, but this one is just insane, especially considering the long takes while strapped in, unable to swim up for air, which is not my journey, but I respect their sacrifice for our entertainment. And speaking of risking your life,
Everyone knows that they just did this. They borderline marketed with how they shot this scene.
These are the things that you're grateful they allow them to do, but you also would understand why a parental figure in Hollywood's like, you're not allowed to do that. You have a bedtime, Tom.
The fact that he actually halo jumped is just insanity.
Yeah, I mean, he really jumps out the annals of that plane.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise. He just jumped out of the plane.
with yet another Mission Impossible, Fallout is one of the best of the series and one of the best action films of the last decade in general. And that's thanks to the insane dedication of the filmmakers to create scenes like this Halo jump. Halo being an abbreviation for High Altitude Low Open, which was performed by Tom Cruise, making him the first actor to complete this type of jump on camera. Before they actually pulled off this insane act of free will, they had to build a wind tunnel large enough for them to rehearse the moves. So they just casually built one of the largest wind tunnels in the world. Then they trained with actual jumps as well, doing many jumps a day, resulting in over 100 jumps total to capture the scene. And because the scene needed to take place at night, they only had a 3-minute window to capture the jump, which only gave them one real take a day. So they would spend the whole day training, then at night when the light was right, they would grab their one take. With the dangerously high altitudes they were going to be jumping from, there was also a threat of hypoxia. So they actually had to design a special helmet that was a prop, Cruise's light source, and his life-saving device. And then to actually pull the shot off, they needed to jump out of a plane going 165 miles per hour at 25,000 feet in the air. Then Tom Cruise, while plummeting toward the earth, needed to hit his mark of exactly 3 feet from the camera at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour to be in focus during freefall, while an incredible cameraman descended alongside him and adjusted focus manually. This entire sequence is just pure movie magic and absolute skill, and the fact that it even exists at all is a miracle. With seemingly everything going against them, including mortality and physics, they were still able to pull off an incredible and seemingly impossible sequence.
The choreography for this scene must have been insane.
It's a pretty great one. I remember seeing this.
I think it's a mixture, actually. There's no way that all of that is real. obviously.
Feels like a combination of they shot a lot of real elements, and then when the camera's in front of Keanu, I cannot tell if there is green screen from behind him, but he's locked off on some trailer where he's stationary, and then the camera's able to do this with real stunt performers, and then the bike flipping feels like VFX.
I think the stuff with Keanu Reeves, they've got to be on stationary bikes on blue screen or green screen, and then that's mixed with actual footage of dudes on the road.
The motorcycle sword fight on the bridge was created using a combination of practical filming, green screen work, and CGI. The sequence was rehearsed multiple times before being filmed, with initial choreography taking place in a warehouse, where they tested bike movements and camera motion. Additional rehearsals were filmed on a green screen stage with tracking markers to test whether their approach to the sequence would even work, which is where they discovered the stunt team's measurements of the actual bridge were off by a couple feet. So the choreography was adjusted and the measurements of the bridge were scanned using LiDAR to make sure it was accurate, then they tested again. For the final shot, actors and stunt performers were placed on bike sled rigs and filmed on green screen. Puppeteers, also dressed in green, controlled the bikes and were later removed during compositing. The footage was combined with background plates of the bridge along with full digital elements including bikes, riders, and sections of the environment. And all of that was mixed in with shots from the actual location as well. Digital assets included a full body double of John Wick, additional riders, weapons, and environmental details. Some crash sequences were also enhanced using digital animation based on practical stunt references with dummies. Lighting, camera movement, and lens characteristics were carefully matched between the green screen footage and the bridge plates, with additional effects added such as debris, sparks, lens flares, camera shake, and lighting interaction to complete the sequence. It's a good example that even when a sequence is heavily digital, having practical references goes miles. The big takeaway, as always, is how technology becomes a tool to complete the illusion, not create it from nothing. Across all of these films, the techniques vary from miniatures and motion rigs to halo jumps and digital doubles, but the philosophy stays the same. Whether it's a sinking building, a flipping truck, or a fall at 200 miles per hour, each moment begins with a problem to solve. And seeing how each team approaches that problem is what makes it compelling for me. All of these effects are built with engineering, performance, and visual effects all working together, with each step supporting the next. And that's what makes them believable. And as Tom Cruise puts it when approaching these life-threatening stunts, don't be careful, be competent. But that's it for today. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we put up new episodes. And if you're looking for more amazing effects, we have a playlist in the notes with all of our episodes. But until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.
See you later. Ta-ta.